Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tellor Dev Call. Today is May 11th, 2026. And we're finally done with the transition of the Tellor Legacy Rewards to Tellor or Tellor Layer. From now on, we're probably just going to call it Tellor. But Tellor V1, what we have on mainnet, will forever continue working. It doesn't have rewards anymore, so it definitely, if you want information or to stay on that system, you're going to have to tip to get information and to get people to incentivize people to continue to support it. We're going to continue to support our current users until they transition or upgrade. There are Liquidity V1, for example, it's still using, it still has activity and they're still using that version of Tellor, so we'll continue to support that. But if you're a new user, highly encourage you, use the new system. This is where the incentives and the security is going to be. And yeah, so now we're more focused on doing getting feedback from the community, making sure that we're gonna start working on our upgrade, which will include some of that feedback and some cleanup. But for the most part, we're just more focused on tools for Tellor Layer and making sure that everybody that's transitioning feels comfortable with it and is able to monitor their system, and we're able to monitor the network as well. So that's what's coming up the next couple of weeks. We are gonna start working on an upgrade, and we'll give you more details as we go around what we're working on this week. And then next week, when we finalize exactly what's going into the next upgrade, we'll make sure to keep you guys up to date. But with that, let's get started on what we're up to this week. Spidey, you're already unmuted, so you go first.
I am doing a lot of monitoring the situation, as always. I'll probably say that every week. There's new reporters coming in. I see that all of the reporters from Old Mainnet have requested withdrawal of their stake. And it was like everybody, which was surprising for me. I thought people would forget. I thought there would be a lot more reporters not paying attention. But everybody was on it. I mean, they're unstaking and they're coming to Layer, hopefully coming to Layer. And they have been having a lot of good questions. There's been questions about our sources for data, and that's what I'm going to focus on for the next couple days. Probably is trying to make sure that we have a reporter daemon that people can use and not worry about getting disputed because there's not a lot of sources. It's tough sometimes, but we'll do the best we can.
Yes, thank you, Spidey. Yeah, I mean, we want to make sure that we provide, robust information, and it's good that people are bringing up these questions. We're going to focus on that, and as soon as we have some sort of resolution, we'll tell everybody. All right, Caleb.
With some of the feedback and stuff that we saw last week, going to be looking into some ways that we could possibly improve or just make the process easier for switching a reporter in case if you accidentally select a reporter that has too much power or the reporter stops reporting, you can switch without being penalized too much. And then on top of that, just keeping up, checking the indexer to make sure that the data is matching and things are tracking. So far, everything has looked good to go. So still really hopeful on that. And then other than that, I'll be responding to situations as they pop up, and as Spuddy says, monitoring the situation.
We do a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a big part of the network. Caleb, the Explorer, you say you're still looking into stuff, or is that ready for Ryan?
Yeah, it's gonna be ready this week. We should be able to get that out this week for sure.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah, so I did a lot of last week, adding new features to the hub. I got to go back in and troubleshoot some of the there's some issues that have been popping up, so I'm gonna just minor UX tweaks. And then finishing up the pull oracle, so I need to update the blog post so the language fits the new robust optionality model that we added. And then once those are all finished, then I can get my hands dirty in the indexer or the explorer, and we can have that thing running this week.
And some of the things that we're going to do, or I don't know if you already implemented on the front end for selecting the reporter or delegating to a validator, we want to make sure that we don't hit that 30% threshold, guys, because once we do, if one validator has 33% of the power and something happens, even if they're not malicious, maybe, even a natural disaster, if it brings it down, then the whole chain stops. So we don't want to hit those thresholds. So we're gonna try to implement first in the front end some measures so that you don't accidentally do that for the validator or the reporter. And then we'll also do some sort of guardrails on the chain on an eventual upgrade.
Yeah, so that is live on the hub now. So yeah, I think it's 25%. So you can't select or delegate to a validator or reporter that has 25% or more power.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, Tim.
Yeah, I am reviewing the Pull Oracle code base. And then separately, I'm working on better documenting and just exploring myself the filters that users use in their contracts for making sure that the correct Oracle data is being relayed and there's as little ability for someone to manipulate values that they get. So yeah, there's some nuances to that. And it also depends on the actual use case. Yeah, so I wrote out a bunch of stuff on that last week, but I think we would do an ADR on that.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe something else as well. Maybe editing just the docs as well.
Yeah, the docs, the ADR, I mean, those are more technical docs. I think we should also do a blog post that sort of breaks it down for people, just so that when they're implementing us, they understand why those things happen and why we're filtering the information the way that we're filtering, so that their data is more robust and safer to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim. Dan?
I'm working on a awesome website for profitability and historical rewards. And yeah, right now I'm working on getting the indexer hooked up to it so we don't spam the RPC.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, with everybody joining the network or coming over from mainnet to layer, we wanted to make sure that, or the big strength of Tellor comes from its security, and that comes from people coming over and staking and participating by obviously on the consensus mechanism and on reporting information. And so for that, a lot of people, there's obviously cost associated for that. And when people come over, we want to make sure that they understand what is at least I know there's a minimum amount of TRB that you have to potentially stake to be able to even break even. You are providing data, and that takes resources, so it's natural that you would get some rewards for it. But we're trying to do this tool, which looks really great. You don't even have to connect your wallet. You just have to know your address, and it gives you a bunch of very useful information, and then you can play around with the numbers to come up with what best suits you. But yeah, no, this is exciting because we need that security to transfer over to Tellor layer, and We are already very close to what we were at mainnet. And I imagine that within the next couple of weeks, as everybody's transitioning, we're gonna hit that and probably go even above what we had before, which is great, which is really, really great. It really helps. All of the security building obviously helps us bring in more people or users, and that it's all part of growing the entire network. Thank you, Dan. And then we do have a question in the community on how can the community or node operators or reporters assist in getting platforms using Tellor layer feeds? How does the Tellor team track usage and adoption? And then long-term plan was always to get tips to pay for data. Has that changed now that the layer is super cheap to transact on? And how can companies use Tellor to provide attestation services that, for example, create a feed where the reporters validate authenticity? Okay, let's break this down in smaller chunks. So how can you guys help? Obviously, if you guys know anybody, act as an ambassador for us. We go to conferences and obviously talk about Tellor, talk about our security, and talk about our values. We've always been really focused on maintaining decentralization. We think it's very important for the entire industry. Ethereum is one of the, Ethereum, Bitcoin, they're both have always maintained values that are very decentralized, and they try and support that through their technology. We're going to continue to do that with Tellor. So act as an ambassador. We're obviously doing hackathons, conferences, and just reaching out to new projects. I know, Ryan, you usually start doing that at some point. Now that everything is stable with Layer, I think we're gonna be doing a bigger push for that. We track usage and adoption. Sometimes people come, and we always encourage them to come and talk to us. We are happy to help you implement us properly. Sometimes people just use us, and that's okay. That's actually the way that things, we imagine things would work, but we always want to make sure that you use us properly and safely. That's one of the reasons that if we know that you exist and you're trying to use us, I want to see the implementation, and I want to make sure that we can advise you as much as possible. Also, in terms of, some of the comments that have come up now that people are transitioning, our old reporters know that, there can be risk when you're providing data for information that has very limited sources or liquidity. And so for somebody that's using Tellor that's gonna want to use a brand new query, it's always good to think about and brainstorm to make sure that whatever information you're asking for is robust enough for people to want to support it. And the plan has always been that tips would pay for data. I think that has not changed. It sort of fits into the economy of Tellor. So when people implement us, for now, we're gonna be very honest, we're sort of at a point where we're fine, in essence, subsidizing, right? So the rewards are subsidizing the cost for users, initial users. And currently anybody that's in the cycle list, it's basically subsidized a part of their feed if it's in the cycle list, because then you guys are required to submit for it for you to be able to earn rewards. But eventually, there's, as more things are on the cycle list or added to the cycle list, that gap between when you get the information, it's gonna continue to increase. And so people or users will still be expected to tip to be able to incentivize people to report the data more often than what's required by the cycle list. Now, in order for us to get there, it's always a little bit harder. As you guys know, anything in crypto is it's a process. So So as we grow and expand, that's going to be part of the process, and people know that is sort of how we work. So when they come to us and they actually ask us for information, that's going to drive their cost. And then the second thing that drives the cost is obviously relaying the information to whatever chain that they are actually operating on. That doesn't change. But most chains now, even Ethereum, if you guys have seen, the gas costs have really, really decreased over time. But yes, that has not changed. It's only at the beginning, it's sort of like bootstrapping in a way, that there is some sort of built-in economic incentives to make sure that everything works, similar to Ethereum, right? there are rewards that occur every block on Ethereum, but then people still pay for gas, and that's that's just the process, and it's going to get better as the entire network grows and our users base also increases. How can they use us for attestations of service, or to provide attestation services? If it's attesting to information that is publicly available, it is a lot easier for Tellor to do, because as a network, that's what we're built to do, right? We get information and we sort of collect all of these prices or the same information. Everybody goes out and collects it, and so there's this huge array with all of it. And so that means that it has to be publicly available so people can go pull it and act as verifiers for that. If that information is private, it is very difficult, if not almost impossible for us to do, because we can attest to something that only a few people can have access to or are privy to information. So I think it just depends on what they need to be attested to. I know in the past we've attested to funds on a vault, which is on chain. It might be on another chain, and then we can pass that information, or we can attest that information, or that they have those funds, or that Bitcoin locked in somewhere, and then we provide that data on another chain for them to do something else with that. Because it's on chain, it's public, so it's easy for us to do. If it's I think it just depends on what type of information they want us to attest to, and whether or not that information is publicly available, so that it's verifiable and disputable. Does anybody else have any, or want to add anything to? There's like 3 questions in there. It's a lot, but these are really good questions. These are things that we're always thinking about adoption and usage, and bringing in users and educating them as well. We've seen a lot of things that have happened over the last couple of years, and last year a lot of the hacks were the hard-coded stable coins to one. They were really not using an oracle. That's not an oracle. And we saw it with, was it Resolve? Elixir actually ended up dying after their vault manager reported losing, I don't know, 90 million from off-chain funds. And then they depegged, but they had hard-coded their stable coin. And so there's a lot of education that still has to happen. But yeah, we're always thinking about it. We'll be in New York next week, or next month for a conference. So if you guys are out there, reach out. And if you guys know of any projects and want us to reach out, we'll reach out. But I think nothing works better than ambassador, and you guys that know the system, are part of the system, you are probably the most equipped to actually attest to the system and how it works. And to we're always here. We're here every week we're working on this. We're always thinking about security, and I think you guys can help us really spread the word as much as we do. You know, we're always here focused on that. You guys can definitely help us by just spreading the word.
Yeah, people need to know that we're here as a decentralized option. And there's probably a lot of people who are starting projects that need oracles, and they don't really know that there's a more decentralized option, or yeah, for whatever reason. We just gotta get out there.
Yeah, but really great questions, LP Trinity. Yeah, no, thanks for being a good steward, and everybody that's coming in. If you guys have any questions, we are expecting this transition period to bringing a lot more interactions with the team and questions. And if you guys have also feedback on our documentation, please send it in. If there's any holes in it, let us know. And yeah,
if you'd like to see it entirely rewritten, let me know.
That too. Hopefully not. I think yeah.
No, I mean, I've wanted to for a while.
Wanted to? Okay.
Just for the first, I mean, you already knew that, but just for the viewers. It's not because I don't want to. There's more important things.
All right. But with that, is that the last question? That's the only question that I saw.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we'll see you guys next week. We're super, super excited about this new phase that we're entering, and looking forward to all your feedback.